Hello, everybody. Welcome to All Villa, No Filler. Please like and subscribe. Subscribe if you support the mighty Villa. It says in the rule book of YouTube, read the terms and conditions. I've read all 500 pages, all 500, scoured the whole lot, and it says on page 432, if you subscribe to the All Villa, No Filler podcast, you love Aston Villa and you think Professor Unai Emery deserves his own statue in every single corner of Spain, which is where I have just come back from. Well, Catalonia is where I was, in Barcelona. What a lovely place. Lots of interesting things happen there. I walked up to every single person I saw to give thanks for Unai Emery, to give thanks for you know, Monchi and Alex Moreno, who is actually from Catalonia, Pau Torres, and he even went up to La Sagrada Familia. And they have, they've been building it for over 100 years now. Incredible. It's almost finished. And they've made a lot of progress from when I last saw it about 4 years ago. And I noticed a few little decorations at the top, and there was one shaped just like Unai Emery. So clearly they are giving thanks to Professor Unai as well. They know the sacred family, my sacred family, Pau Torres, Monchi, Unai Emery, and Alex Moreno. Look, what am I talking about? So yes, that was a lot of fun. Barcelona is a fantastic city. Spain, Catalonia, the Basque Country, a lot of it. It is the most beautiful place on the planet. I love that country. Now, where was I? Oh yeah, talking of traveling to Europe, Aston Villa have got Ajax in the Conference League. Oh, it's a big old fixture, isn't it? Let me know in the comments below, right below. Get their tippy tapping, like tippy tappy football, tippy tap on your keyboard, and tell me if you were there in 2008 when Martin O'Neill's Aston Villa side laid the smackdown on the Netherlands' finest Ajax. You let me know that, because guess who else was there? I was there in the Upper Trinity. Upper Trinity. There with my good friend Rich Stevens. He was there as well. And I remember looking down from the top of the Trinity Road stand, and I can still see it in my head when Martin Larsson's header, when he scored from the corner. I remember his celebration very vividly. It's hard to believe that's 16 years ago. I mean, what on earth? Where is time? What is happening? What? And I just remember the atmosphere that night being so unique and so, it just felt like something really big was happening, didn't it? It was a really exciting event to have a club of the stature of Ajax at Aston Villa. Felt like a real, it's a highlight, isn't it? You never forget it, really. And I'll never forget watching that win. A lot of people I know who were there that night have very fond memories of it. Gareth Barry's goal as well. I remember Jan Klaas Huntelaar, I think, was playing up front for Ajax before he then went on to Real Madrid and Schalke. I think he became a big striker for. So yeah, it was an amazing night, and I'm sure again it will be a huge event. And on this occasion, you would think Villa are probably the favourites on this time around. Not because we're a bigger team than Ajax or anything. I mean, Villa and Ajax are two very historic clubs, and Ajax just have an absolutely incredible history and produce amazing players all the time to this day. But it's safe to say that this season things have not been going too well for them. So they're fifth in the Eredivisie. Actually started the season even worse. They were bottom of the league for a while, I think I recall. They're somewhere below AZ Alkmaar, Twente, Feyenoord, and PSV. We've played AZ, of course. We laid the smackdown on them very comfortably away from home as well. Ajax was somewhat lucky to get past Bodo Glimt by all accounts in the playoffs. They lost to Brighton 2-0 at home. So you would like to think that Villa, you can look at them results, you can look at their form this season. You'd like to think Villa, with Professor Unai there, of course, with his European experience, can give Ajax something of a beating, is how I would say. That's what you would hope. But what it also does is it changes our fixtures, because now we have to look at what's coming up and how it might impact us. Because, let's face it, there were one or two other teams we could have drawn that probably aren't as well known, like a Servette, one or two others that you think, oh, it would have been Villa probably would have taken that over Ajax. But then at the same time, you're in Europe, you want to play the best teams, you want to prove yourself against the best teams. And Ajax, I'd rather have an Ajax, because in 10 years, we're going to remember that, aren't we? If we play Servette, it's not necessarily going to be something you'd always remember, even though the result might be a great one, whatever. You will remember it, but no disrespect to Servette or anything like that. But just what I'm saying is, because of Ajax, the stature of them and their history in the game, of course, it just means a little bit more, doesn't it? So Villa have Ajax planted between Luton and Tottenham. So it goes Luton, Ajax, Tottenham, Ajax, West Ham away. That is tough. That's a lot of games. But again, what we have shown this season is a resilience. Emery seems to have coached this team very well. He seems to have managed this team very, very well when we've played in Europe. And we tended to play on Thursdays and then come back on the weekend. And actually, generally, our results were really good. I think we beat Brighton 6-1 after playing Warsaw a couple of days before. So yeah, we've managed Europe very well this season so far. But as we've seen with the sheer injury load that we've picked up, that is surely a knock-on effect from the number of games we've played. The injury list is a problem, though, we had a great start against Fulham, given that we've picked up a fair few injuries again recently. Boubacar Kamara being a big example of that. Yon Duran, of course, is out for a while. So to get that result at Fulham as we did, I've not talked about it because as I said, I was away, wasn't able to do a podcast on it either as well, so I didn't see the game. But yes, fantastic result. Fulham, away, that's a tough game. Arsenal lost there recently. So to go there and win 2-1, could have been 3 or 4, seeing the chances we had, the goals ruled out. Fantastic, amazing result, really. Pau Torres coming back makes an absolutely enormous difference. Crucial player, just whenever he gets the ball, he's so comfortable at pressing forward, draws in a man, therefore that creates space within the middle. He can beat a man, or he's willing to pass out to his left a lot more, out to a Moreno, which for some reason I find Clement Lenglet tends not to do. He tends to cut back inside and go to his right. I like Lenglet. I think he's a good player, but I think just with Torres, you just feel he's just that bit better on the ball, isn't he? So when Torres presses forward, he's comfortable passing it out to Moreno. He's comfortable beating a man, but also it's that whipped pass. We've seen it since pre-season, and I've mentioned it 100 million times in this bloody podcast. That whipped ball through the lines, through the midfield, into the feet of a second striker, so say a Diaby, or a McGinn if he's playing that role, or a Tielemans if he's playing that role, or a Bailey if he's playing into that role, or even straight into Ollie Watkins himself. He can play it straight through, ball to feet, whipped in, and it takes out multiple players in the game. He's an absolutely fantastic defender. He's been proven a brilliant signing, and quite frankly, to look back on it and think that he was linked with Bayern Munich, I think Bayern might look back now on that and probably regret it. I think he would have been a big top signing for them as well. So yes, great to have him back, and that leads me on to Beyond Ajax. Obviously, very excited about it. I'd love to go. I'm going to try and work my way to get to the game there. But talk briefly about Fulham. Obviously, I can't do too much on it. I'm quite interested to know your thoughts on the Fulham game. Let me know what you thought, what was different, because as I said, Villa are going to have to evolve because more teams are going to prepare for us. More teams are going to have a better game plan for us than they might have done, say, 6 months ago, 3 months ago. We're a top team now, so you have to prepare for us. So I'm sure Fulham, with a top coach like Marcus Silva, prepared for us well, but I gather there were 1 or 2 tweaks. I read Jacob Tanswell's article in The Athletic, and I gather there were some things that Villa did slightly differently. So I'm intrigued to know what you thought about it. I'll be watching with a keen eye against Nottingham Forest tomorrow to see if there's any tweaks as well, because again, Nuno Espirito Santo, and like Marcus Silva, a canny, smart, Portuguese coach has had a real positive impact at Nottingham Forest since he came into the club and replaced Steve Cooper. Forest, they beat us earlier this season, didn't they? 2-0 away. Um, a real bizarre one. Villa were absolutely dominant, but Forest, they just sat deep. We couldn't really create any chances beyond their low block, as we like to call it in football these days, or just a deep line defence, as it's traditionally called. And they basically scored 2 goals from distance. Second goal definitely shouldn't have gone in. So it was a silly result. I think it's probably Villa's most unimpressive result of the season. There's been a couple of bad losses, but I think that was the game where you looked at their form at the time, Villa's form, our dominance in the game, our inability to create a chance in it, their 2 goals. It was a silly result, really. But they're a better side now, I think. If I just look at a couple of their results recently, they beat West Ham 2-0 last time out. Beat West Ham 2-0, lost 3-2 at home to Newcastle. They drew 1-1 away at Bournemouth. Impressive result there. Bournemouth not an easy team to play against away. Lost 2-1 against Arsenal. Lost 3-2 against Brentford. And beat Manchester United 2-1. Why the hell can't we do that? Okay, so the form's a little bit middling actually, but they are scoring goals, is what you would say. And if I'm to look at their lineup, their most recent one, Anthony Elanga, Morgan Gibbs-White, and Callum Hudson-Odoi playing behind Awoniyi. I rate Awoniyi. Look, I think, will they invite pressure? Will they invite pressure? I think they have the players to do that, like they did against us at the City Ground. But it's always a risk against Villa that if you invite that pressure, we will eventually find a way through. But if they go into the deep line defence, it has worked against us. Sheffield United did us in mid-December. It has worked against us with some teams. So if Forest were to do it, I think they've got the defenders to pull it off. And then they also have the players to hit us on the break. Awoniyi is a great striker to just hit a ball up to and hold it up. And then the players behind him, Gibbs-White is a fantastic player. I think could play at a very high level. I'm talking maybe even Champions League level. I think he's that good. Hudson-Odoi and Elanga particularly with that pace, getting in behind. If Moreno's caught a little bit upfield and Elanga can just get in behind, that could be a problem. What Forest can't do that Manchester United did do, never should have lost that bloody game, was that, we were able to find a way through from defence straight into the striker, into Watkins, so bypassing the midfield all the time against Manchester United. And I think that made us much more dangerous. Chelsea and Newcastle were much better at stopping that. And I think it was because they kind of went man for man. And Newcastle then, when we broke that, did fall into a kind of almost 4-5-1 shape. It was very difficult to play through them. And Chelsea were, once they won it back with their two CDMs up on our Kamara and Louise. They had our 2 centre backs in, I think it was Carlos and Longley played that game. The 2 of them had Cole Palmer and I want to say English guy's name, whatever his name is, Conor Gallagher. Once they won it back, there was always space out wide, so we're getting it in behind Cash and in behind Moreno and just whipping it out. So that's what I talk about, a tweak. It looked like there was a bit of a tweak last week with Matty Cash at right back and then he sat back a bit more. So I think that's something we might have to do again at Villa Park. We'll see how it comes off. I'm not going to pretend I know exactly how Forest are going to approach this. I've not really watched them a lot recently, but I do think they have the players to hurt Villa. They'd certainly have the players to hit us on the break. But the thing is, as we know, Aston Villa have the players to hurt them. And Leon Bailey or Nuno Tavares, I back Leon Bailey to cause him problems. And Ollie Watkins is going to have a big physical battle probably against Felipe and Murillo. And then Nico Williams again at right back. Again, he's good, But again, I'd say that's an area. It'll be particularly potent if they, want to hit us on the counter and get forward. But Moreno versus Williams, that's an interesting one to watch. I think Moreno can cause him problems as well. So I think Villa can get the job done. And I'm going to say Leon Bailey and Ollie Watkins score. I'm going to say we score 3 goals and we get the job done there. I'm daring to be positive and hopeful after our win against Fulham. We'll see how we go. Like I say, I didn't really get to see the Fulham game, so I'm not really sure how everything went, but I'm intrigued to see how things go against Forest. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your predictions are. Let me know what you think about the Ajax game. And please like and please subscribe. As I always say on here, up the mighty Villa.